What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing today? I told y'all we going full steam ahead, so let's get right into it. Here we go. First video.
A classic video game quote. Sega does what Nintendo don't. Now, this video is not about Nintendo, but Nintendo clearly outlasted Sega despite Sega doing things they don't. The reason for that is Nintendo do things very well. And while that's at the developer level, a lot of video games just have a certain thing you can't get anywhere else, or at least you can't get it on that level. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and that's what I want to talk about today. 10 games that do one thing better than anyone else. Starting off at number 10, it's Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, which, as you know, does parkour better than... No, I'm just kidding. It's the pirate stuff. Duh. I just think it'd be really funny to talk about Assassin's Creed Black Flag as if the pirate thing isn't the reason to talk about it. Man, does it do pirates good. In the 10 plus years since Assassin's Creed Black Flag, nothing has managed to top it with pirate stuff. We're in a funny place in 2025 with more pirate-themed games than usual. Just in the past few months, we've gotten both Pirate Yakuza and Wise 10, both Japanese games with ship-to-ship combat and pirate themes. They're both solid. I like them, but they never quite reached the level of Black Flag with its immersive ship combat. Not even the guys who created the ship combat were able to do it. Like Skull and Bones, less said the better, right? Also, later Assassin's Creed games with ships do not have the oomph. Like Odyssey has it, but where's the oomph? It's not there. There's just something special about the volley of cannonballs, the strategic movement where you have to take the wind into account. The still impressive water. We can see your crew running around on deck, man, and cannons opening up the sails. It's awesome. No other game has managed to capture it this way either, which is nuts because it's not like Black Flag is flawless. There's tons of room for improvement in a lot of places, but no game so far has seriously attempted. The best we have to look forward to is a rumored Black Flag remake, which is nice, but all anyone really wants is the mechanics of this game without the Assassin's Creed stuff. Like, don't eliminate sneaking altogether, like pirates are gonna sneak, but make a frickin' pirate game, Ubisoft. Like, just take what you did with Black Flag and make a non-Assassin's Creed. Like, we don't want any Animus crap. We don't want any, oh man, we gotta get the Templars nonsense. Take Assassin's Creed Black Flag, update the graphics, and make a completely standalone pirate story with the engine. Boom. I'm not saying there haven't been any good pirate games after Black Flag, but nothing's really managed to let you play out the pirate fantasy on the level of both beauty and fun that this game has. There's solid pirate games. Sid Meier's Pirates, classic. Sea of Thieves, it's fun and deserves mention for still having the best water ever. And hell, the sister game to Black Flag, Rogue, is almost as good as Black Flag. In fact, in some ways, it's a little bit better in at least the gameplay department. But to be frank, nobody has surpassed Black Flag, and there's still innovations in a lot of genres. This one, not so much. We're not getting past that game yet. Moving on to number 9, it's Metal Gear Solid 5 and its movement mechanics, because wowie, say what you will about the lack of story and sometimes basic mission design, all the quasi-live service aspects of the game that feel unnecessary, but if Metal Gear Solid 5 has one aspect that was and still is top of class, it's the movement mechanics. It's something games are finally just starting to catch up with now. It's been a long time coming, because other than maybe like The Last of Us Part 2, all other third-person sneaking and shooting games feel woefully out of date compared to the breadth and depth of the movement in Metal Gear Solid 5. It is so fluid, smooth, and easy to control, but with a level of fine-tuning that you just rarely see. The actual shooting mechanics are not great. They're not bad, but they're not going to knock your socks off. But the movement's just second to none. Being able to freely transition between standing, crouching, and prone feels seamless in this game. And it's so few games manage it. You can dive and roll and crawl around on your back and do all kinds of high-level tricks. But the actual controls aren't very complicated. You're almost always doing exactly what you want to be doing.
Something's wrong. But it has to be here.
Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
You get a lot of options to move around in a way that feels realistic. but also natural. And it took years for it to happen, but some games are actually kind of learning some lessons from MGS5. Like Helldivers 2 has that same smooth but weighty sort of movement. The newest Assassin's Creed is finally trying to update its movement mechanics, and it looks a lot like what Kojima was doing 10 years ago. I mean, there's no denying that Phantom Pain is a flawed game, but even now the movement has yet to be topped in third-person games.
Hold him off! Occupying the facility.
At number 8, Grand Theft Auto 5's instant character switching. It's kind of crazy that a game that originally came out in the Xbox 360, PS3 era still inexplicably has the best character swapping mechanics in any game.
I like that. I ain't gonna lie, we online sometimes takes a while.
Yes, there are a few open world games that came out after where you can swap characters, but nobody has done it as immersively and cleverly as GTA 5. Where most games, even now, only let you swap characters out in a menu or when you're doing some kind of instance at the central base or whatever, you know? GTA 5 just lets you swap anytime, anywhere. And as long as you're not in the middle of a mission, you're no longer that guy. You're the other guy. There's no obvious loading screens. The game seamlessly zooms out and pans across the map back to another guy who is somewhere else doing something. Usually they're in the middle of something. It's amazing. Like, honestly, it's super immersive. And even if it slows you down a little bit, it's the kind of slowdown that, like, feels good. Like, wow, this is a real world where things are really happening. You'd think with the advent of SSDs, this sort of thing would be more common, but somehow it just isn't. I mean, sure, switching between the Spider-Man is faster than GTA 5, but the transitions are a lot more mechanical and not as interesting. The kind of transition we see in GTA 5 is something that you could only do in a game. Like, I mean, you could do it in a movie, but I'm not sure you would. It would be very expensive. Whether that's doing it with a drone that flies across the city or doing it with CGI, actually having it come off as well as it does in this game would not be an easy prospect. And right now, the only game that looks like it could possibly top GTA's still innovative character swapping is GTA 6. It's got dual protagonists, maybe. That's the rumor. I mean, that does remind me that we're this far into 2025 and still don't know exactly how many protagonists GTA 6 has, which is crazy, but if it's the case that there's more than one, they may blow our minds.
In his research, Dr. Morrison identified a paradox. A moment where machine learning would evolve past...
Doing something with somebody else.
Hey, baby, you looking for a date?
Nope, just window shopping. Happily married now.
At number 7, Resident Evil 4 still has the best reload animations. A bold statement, but I'm willing to go to bat for it. Stiff competition out there, not gonna lie. But I'm sorry, it's just not been topped. Not even in the excellent remake. There's an argument to be made that the Resident Evil 4 remake is better than the original, and it's certainly the one that I want to play more than the original. If you've watched game ranks for any extended game length, Falcon has a serious bone to pick with the controls in the original Resident Evil 4, but I have no bones to pick with the incredible reloading animations. It is so crisp, so clean, so sharp. I mean, it is absolutely impeccable. It's hard to even describe what makes it better than everything else out there. But if you see it, which you are right now, you know. The standout animations are, of course, the rifle. The way Leon hammers that bolt is just next level. The Red 9 reload is another masterpiece. The ammo pop, the ramming into the magazine, throwing away the clip. Looks badass as hell. And then there's the broken butterfly where Leon throws the breech over his shoulder to dump the spent cartridges. Masterful reloading going on here. What makes the reloading here stand out is it's not just functional either. They're intentionally trying to make it look as cool as possible, and that's the Resident Evil 4 reloading difference. number 6, Sifu has the best third-person hand-to-hand combat. This is a tough one because obviously there's a lot of strong competition in this category, so I don't blame you if you disagree, but to me, Sifu just has the best hand-to-hand combat system in any game. It's hardcore challenging to master, but when you start to get good, it really seriously looks like a martial arts movie come to life.
Any regrets now?
It's got that perfect balance between deep mechanics, while still retaining kind of a power fantasy of being a martial arts guy. You feel cool even when you're not really doing great just because the animation work is so good. And when you start getting good, that's when the systems really start to click. Enemies that were originally a struggle and you had to get through them slowly, they suddenly just become minor roadblocks. Takes a lot of time and effort to get good too, because enemies are relentless in their attacks and it can be difficult to find out the right counters for it, but that's part of the fun of the game. Redoing the same sections until you truly master it. It can sound repetitive, but it's actually pretty fun. Sifu is a game that you really have to work to understand, and yet again, it's repetitive and that can be very frustrating, but when it clicks, ooh, all of the frustration, it's all worth it.
I ain't gonna lie, that was
At number 5, the game with the best destructible environment is Teardown. Probably thought I was going to say Red Faction Guerrilla. In some ways, yes, it's the best. That hasn't stopped, it hasn't been topped, but Teardown does something very different. It's more granular, more physics-based. It incorporates other elements like water and smoke into the simulation. Different materials have different strengths. They require different solutions to break through. Environments are smaller, but smashing through stuff, wowie, is it detailed and interesting. It's more than a simple power fantasy. The destruction isn't just flashy. There's a ton of depth to it. It's still pretty indie-rific in its presentation. Like, you're not going to fool anybody into thinking this is like real footage or anything, but the visuals kind of don't matter. The physics simulation is super complex and great. Of course, Red Faction Guerrilla does a lot of other things that this game does not. It's an open world game, shooting, driving, all the chaos you could want from this sort of thing. There's no enemies in Teardown. It's just you versus the environment. So it may not be the perfect destruction game, but there also kind of isn't the perfect destruction game. Instead of focusing on interesting gameplay, mechanics, or innovative technology, modern games are about fidelity. So innovation and destruction, it's just not there in the big AAA games industry. It's up to indies like Teardown to pick up the torch on that. And while I can't make something as grand and impressive as a fully blown open world action game, at least you can settle for some pretty impressive destruction here. At number 4, Freedom Fighters is the most fun third-person strategy game hybrid. Anyone who grew up on RTS games probably dreamed of a game where you get to zoom in from the usual bird's eye view and get a close personal look at the action. Few games have been trying this. The RTS hybrid games, pretty much all of them have failed spectacularly, other than that Battlezone remake. Anybody remember that one? It's been a while. I like the games attempt it because on paper it's something that I would like. And easily the best out of them is Freedom Fighters, this game with awesome central gameplay gimmick. It's been yet to be improved on. What makes it work is how simplistic the controls are. You're a guy who's relatively slow, not super accurate by yourself, but as you complete objectives in a given location, you can recruit more allies to your cause until you get enough guys to storm whatever central base the area happens to have. Your helpers can be given several commands to attack or hold position. You can directly order them to move to different locations. Like I said, simple concept, but the execution is just great. Storming a base with an army of soldiers under your direct command is just fun as hell. It's exciting and tactical without being overwhelming or awkward, and it works in a way most other games of this type don't. Like I said, it's kind of a genre that just, it's such a great idea on paper, and nobody's really fully cracked it yet, but I'd say Freedom Fighters is among a very select few that have gotten super close. At number 3, Draken has the best dragon riding. It's sad that in 2025, the dream of a definitive dragon game remains a dream. With how many nerds make games, you think somebody would finally make a proper dragon riding game. There's enough fantasy books about the premise, and come on, it'd be cool to just do in a game. Not like Panzer Dragoon isn't awesome, but it's also Star Fox with dragons. The only thing that's ever come truly close to what we're talking about is Draken, the Order of the Flame. It's far from the only game where you actually ride a dragon, but I mentioned Panzer Dragoon. But nothing does what this game or its sequel, The Ancient's Gate, does. You seamlessly fly, land, take off with the dragon, and it's Grand Theft Dragon. That's the key difference here. The dragon doesn't get sequestered off into its own gameplay segment, or it's some on-rails, very linear, specific type of game. Panzer Dragoon isn't a dragon game. It's a take on the forward-scrolling shooter. This is a dragon game. And please understand, Panzer Dragoon are among my favorite games. I lobbied to mention them here because they don't get mentioned enough. But like, the dragon games aren't even like the most amazing games or anything. The bar is just really low on what a dragon game is. The hopes of a new dragon game ever coming out are basically zero, but maybe Larian could do a Divinity 2 sequel that has dragon riding. Probably wouldn't be as good as Draken, but it's the next best thing. I don't think is going to happen, but Draken, that's a halfway decent game about dragon riding we have.
Step aside.
At number 2 is Mirror's Edge, the first-person parkour, which, wow. I'm not going to lie and say there hasn't been an increased interest in speed in first-person games. More and more games are coming out with double jumps and wall runs and air dashes and all kinds of movement powers, but even with all those bells and whistles, no other game has quite managed to feel as good as the original Mirror's Edge. It's a game that does one thing well, and that's running. The controls are responsive and tactile, the movement system's complex, has depth, but it's also simple enough that anybody can jump in and have some fun. And it just feels good to play. There's a weight to the controls that make it feel like you're actually inhabiting a human body, but it's not so heavy that it makes it feel sluggish. It kind of just hits this Goldilocks mark between realistic and fun, and it allows for some almost superhuman feats that, it's all for fun.
Get that stuff though. Ain't even gonna lie. Was that the last one?
The story is a vague kind of nothing burger, and the shooting mechanics feel out of place, but the visuals are just as striking as ever, and the actual parkour action is the best out there, period, even after all these years.
That bird ain't playing around. Get your ass to the CEC News building. I'm finding you a way out.
And finally, at number 1, Mercenaries Playground of Destruction has the best airstrikes. There's just something really satisfying about calling an airstrike in a video game. You have command all that military hardware. It feels badass, even when it's just relegated to a scripted sequence. The thing with airstrikes is that mechanically you're basically doing the same thing as a rocket launcher or an explosive charge, but that's boring. You want to run up to a tank like a chump and throw some C4 at it, then run away? Or do you want to call an AC-130 gunship and blow that thing away at 20,000 feet?
죽어! 이 도야지 같은 놈! 돌격! 들어가!
In fact, that's a large part of what makes the original Mercenaries Playground of Destruction so much fun. It gives you all this military support, and you can call it whenever the hell you want. The variety of support options is huge. There's artillery you can bring in with flares. There's guided missiles using a target laser. There's bunker busters for heavily fortified structures, anti-tank missiles, and even anti-air passes that'll knock out any helicopters in the sky. It's freaking crazy. The way you use it, it's so simple and inspired to. You load up an inventory of call-ins, you just use them anytime. Unlike in Mercenaries 2, where calling in airstrikes forces you to awkwardly open up the menu again just to select one. It's a minor thing, but it really messes up the whole immersive element of it. There's just nothing else quite like the original Mercenaries. It's still one of the best open world games because of all the support you can call in at any time. There's just nothing else quite like it, except oddly enough, a little game called Helldivers 2, which has an awesome stratagem system where you can input codes to call in all kinds of hell on your enemies. That's fantastic too. It's ultimately more limited than what's on offer in Mercenaries, but if there's one game out there to even get close, it's definitely Helldivers 2. And that's all for today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like.
They even mentioned, I thought they were going to mention Helldivers 3 yet. Up next. Up next. I don't know. They didn't. Anyways, we got a bunch of videos coming up for today, so hopefully